Alright, so my last step is going to be figuring out my trucks and wheels. Now you see how the trucks are. There's two different options. There's a black option and then a gray option. We're not coloring the trucks though. We're going to leave those natural color. So depending on what colors we have on our board, alright, if I have a lot of darker colors in that area where that dotted line is, alright, that's where that truck is going to go. If I have a lot of light colors in the areas where those dotted lines are, maybe I'll use the darker color truck. So I'm going to make that decision first, and then second, I'm going to cut these out. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to color the wheels, first using marker and then doing colored pencil gradient. I want to pick a color that I don't have right there on my skateboard. I want to make something with contrast. So I can look through the markers and say, all right, well, I don't want to use anything in this color area, this color range here or here. So I think maybe, and I can test it out too, if I put green on the outside with marker, that's going to stand out really well. So I think I'm going to use green, and I think I'm going to use the lighter colored truck. So I'm going to color in the wheels smooth and flat like we did on every other portion of the color, and I don't have to worry too much about the edges, top and bottom. Alright, so I'm just getting a nice smooth area of flat color. I don't have to worry about it going outside the lines there because I'm cutting it out around the edge. Some students ask sometimes, can I use different color wheels in different areas? Sure, you can do that, but I'm going to keep mine in a similar color. Now, to see how the trucks are currently facing each other, those little points right there, this and this, they're called the kingpin. The kingpins always face each other because underneath the kingpins there's things called bushings, and when you lean on the skateboard to turn, those bushings will squish on one side and the trucks will turn. So I've got my color down. Now what I got to do is I want to create a gradient so it looks like the highlight area is this light green. So I'm going to go on each wheel, the center area here, similar to what you see on the truck, has a highlight. So I'm going to use my colored pencils, and I'm just using a darker version of whatever color I have, and I'm pressing a little bit harder, and then as I work my way to the middle, just like I did on the board in other areas, as I work my way to the middle, basically when I get to the edge of the truck right here, I'm going to leave the green. So it should be a nice fade from a darker version of the color to a lighter version of the color, and the true green picks up and creates a highlight on the wheel. And I can kind of go back in and add a little bit of pressure down here to darken it and just kind of smooth the transition as I go. Okay, so you see that on all four wheels, that gives you that highlight right in the center of the wheels. I'm going to do that on all four, and then we'll move to the next step, which is going to be cutting everything out. Okay, so I've got my colors. This is going to go onto my skateboard at the top. Alright, this one's going to get cut out and mounted here. This one's going to get cut out and mounted right on that dotted line. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. See how that cleaned up that edge there? Got all that extra scribble. Now, here's a trick. Sometimes it can be difficult to cut in on this corner. So here's what I want you to do. Line up the end of the scissor tip like that, right where it touches the truck, and right at the edge of the wheel. So if I do this, and I just go in this way, that makes a cut right down to the edge of the inside of the wheel there. Alright, now I can do the same thing this way. I put the corner of the scissor into that corner of the wheel, and I get a nice clean edge. Now I can just use my scissor right in here like this, and I can come right along the edge of the truck. Now instead of turning I'm trying to cut that way, turn the paper, line up the end with the edge of the truck, and cut in. All right, just continue that process all the way around the trucks. Try to leave the black line on the outer edge of the truck. Now, to make it easier to get in here, I'm going to cut that off, and now I can go in like I did on the other side. All right, so now that I got my trucks cut out, remember the direction in which they're supposed to be mounted. Okay, so dotted line here. I'm going to take my glue stick and I'm going to put glue on the back of this with my cover sheet. Now, so you don't get glue all over the outside and it doesn't get all over your deck. Best thing to do would be to just put a little bit in the middle here and then pick it up and just kind of carefully, gently go along the edge of the trucks and wheels. Sometimes people like going like this. All right, to get it on there, you could do that as well. That sometimes though, you got to watch it doesn't get on your fingers and then go all over the place. So you get a good amount of glue on the trucks there and then mount it. Again, this part needs to face inward. So I'm going to try to get it lined up on my dotted line there, and I'm going to get it centered. The good thing about this is I can look, and it's before I glue it all the way down, I can make it straight across just like that. I can move it around a little bit. And now I've got my trucks and wheels down. Now, last step, cut out the skateboard right around the outside edge. Then you're going to bring it up to me and I'm going to mount it on the black paper. So, right up against that black line, I'm going to try to keep the black line and I'm going to cut all the way around the deck.